Part 6. The Challenge. The first few weeks at the cafe were exciting. Every day I learned something new. How to make a perfect flat white, how to smile even when I was tired, and how to say, "Cheers, mate," like a real Londoner. But as time passed, things started to feel heavier. I woke up early, worked long hours, and came back to my small room exhausted and alone. There was no one to talk to, no one waiting for me. Just me, the cold, and the soft sound of rain outside my window. Some nights I sat by the window watching the city lights. I thought about home, my mother's cooking, my father's quiet advice, my friends' laughter echoing through the streets I grew up in. The memories felt close, yet painfully far away. My English was improving, but not fast enough. Sometimes customers spoke too quickly. Their words blended together like one long sentence. I smiled and nodded, pretending I understood, but inside I felt small and frustrated. One afternoon, I made a mistake with an order. I charged a customer twice by accident. He frowned and said loudly, "Can't you understand simple English?" The words hit harder than I expected. Tom stepped in quickly and fixed the situation, but the shame stayed with me all day. That night I couldn't eat. I just sat on my bed, replaying the moment again and again. I had come all this way to start a new life, but suddenly I wondered if I truly belonged here. A few days later, it rained non-stop. The streets were flooded with grey water, and the city felt colder than ever. I missed the warmth of my home, the smell of my mother's tea, and the comfort of hearing my own language. One evening after work, I missed the last train. I had to walk home through the rain, my shoes soaking wet, my phone battery dead, and not a single taxi in sight. For the first time, I asked myself aloud, did I make the right choice coming here? When I finally reached my room, I sat down in silence. The walls felt smaller than ever. I looked at my small notebook on the desk, the same one where I had written, "Confidence is built one coffee at a time." I smiled weakly and whispered, maybe I need to read my own words again. I opened the notebook and wrote slowly. I feel tired. I feel lonely. But I'm still here. That means I'm stronger than I think. That night, I made myself a cup of tea, sat by the window again, and watched the city glowing faintly through the rain. For the first time, I realized something important. Challenges are not signs to stop, they are signs to grow. The rain kept falling, but inside, something in me began to change. London was still cold, but my heart was a little warmer. As I closed my notebook, I whispered, "Tomorrow I'll keep going."
Part 7. The Change. Spring came slowly to London. The air felt warmer, the days grew longer, and the grey streets began to bloom with colour. Flowers appeared in the parks. People laughed in cafes, and musicians played on the corners of busy streets. Something inside me changed too. I still worked at the same cafe, but now I didn't feel like a stranger anymore. I could talk to customers easily, joke with them, laugh with them, and sometimes they even remembered my name. "Morning, Adam," they would say. "Same cappuccino today?" And I'd reply with a grin, "Yes, same as always. 1 cappuccino extra hot."
At work, I began helping new staff members. Tom, my manager, said one afternoon, "You've improved a lot, mate. You sound more British than I do." We both laughed, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't just surviving here. I was becoming part of the rhythm of London itself. I made new friends too. A girl from Spain named Sophia, and a guy from Brazil named Lucas. We spoke English together after work, sitting in the park or by the river, laughing at our mistakes and learning from them. Sometimes, on weekends, we went to Hyde Park with takeaway coffee and cheap sandwiches. We sat on the grass and shared stories about home, the food we missed, the people we loved, and the dreams that brought us all here. Each of us came to London for a different reason, but somehow we all shared the same feeling that we were building something new.
One evening, Sophia asked me, "Adam, do you still miss home?" I thought for a moment and said, "Yes, I do. But now I miss London when I'm away too." That answer surprised me, but it was true. Home had started to mean something different. Not just a place, but a feeling of connection, of belonging. That night, as I walked back through the city, I noticed the lights reflecting on the Thames, the smell of roasted chestnuts on the street, and the distant sound of someone playing guitar. The city felt alive, and for the first time it felt like it was smiling back at me. Later, in my room, I opened my notebook and wrote, "I came here to find a new life, but maybe what I've really found is a new version of myself." I stared at those words for a while. They felt right. London was no longer just a city. It had become a mirror, showing me who I was and who I could become.
Part 8. A New Beginning. A full year had passed since I first arrived in London. It felt strange to think about it. 12 months that had changed everything about me. The shy boy who once feared the rain had now learned to walk confidently through it, sometimes even smiling when the drops touched his face. My English was fluent now. I could talk, joke, and even dream in this new language. Work at the cafe had become easy and familiar. I knew every sound, every regular customer, every rhythm of the day. I had friends from all over the world, and we shared our stories like pages from one big book. London no longer felt like a place I visited. It felt like home.
One Sunday morning, I walked through Hyde Park alone. The air was fresh, filled with the scent of grass and blooming flowers. Children were playing with kites. People were running, walking dogs, and an old man was feeding birds near the lake. The water sparkled under the early sunlight. I sat on a wooden bench, closed my eyes, and listened to laughter, footsteps, and music from somewhere far away. For the first time, it came a perfect moment of peace. I realized I wasn't the same person who had arrived a year ago. Back then, I came searching for a new life. Now, I understood that the new life wasn't something I found, it was something I built, moment by moment, through mistakes, hard days, kind smiles, and quiet nights.
I thought about my first day in the city, standing under the grey sky, lost and uncertain. And now, here I was, sitting in the middle of the same city, feeling calm, confident, and grateful. London had taught me patience, courage, and the beauty of starting again. It showed me that home isn't always where you are born. It's where you grow, where you change, and where you learn to love the life you build. As the sun began to set, I opened my old notebook, the same one I carried from home, the same one filled with fears, lessons, and dreams. I turned to the last page and wrote, "A year ago, I dreamed of a new life in London. Today, I'm living it."
I closed the notebook slowly and looked up at the sky. It was painted in soft pink and gold. The wind was gentle, and for a moment the whole world felt still. I smiled, because deep down I knew this wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning of another one. The end.